a journey through sound, story, and spice. 1. Introduction. When flavor meets melody. Traveling to India is not just a movement across land, it's a voyage through senses. The moment you step into its heart, you're greeted by a world that sings, simmers, spices, and sizzles. It's a place where every turn offers a new color, a new rhythm, a new aroma. India is not simply visited, it is felt, it is absorbed, and most deeply it is tasted. The video in question captures this essence not with a traditional documentary script or detailed narration, but through something far more potent: sound. Through music, ambient noise, and subtle reactions, it builds a tapestry of experience that words often fail to express. It's not about recipes or step-by-step cooking. It's about reliving the feeling of tasting something extraordinary and realizing that you were changed in the process. 2. Music, the real narrator. In this video, music doesn't sit quietly in the background, it leads. It is the primary voice, the storyteller that guides the viewer through winding lanes, temple courtyards, sizzling food stalls, and emotional reflections. How music shapes the journey. Classical Indian instruments, sitar, tabla, bansuri, and tanpura weave through scenes like emotional threads. Street sounds, bells, honks, chants, sizzling pans form an acoustic map of India. Musical tempo matches the dish. Upbeat rhythms accompany spicy chats while serene tunes hum behind temple food offerings. Here, music is not just decoration, it's emotion, memory, place, and identity rolled into melody. With minimal verbal narration, music becomes the narrator, rich, evocative, and universal. 3. The culinary path across India. The narrative unfolds across multiple Indian cities and towns, though not always explicitly named. Each frame hints at a place, a tradition, a moment in time, told through food. Memorable stops. Varanasi's chaat, a burst of crunch and spice on a narrow cut-side lane echoing centuries of culinary legacy. Kerala temple food, banana leaves, coconut-laced curries, and rhythmic drumming during lunch serve as a spiritual offering. Mumbai street food, pav bhaji and vada pav amidst honking horns and laughter. Chaotic, flavorful, unforgettable. Rajasthan's thali, ghee-laced bajra rotis and garlic chutney in a mud-walled home. A meal as much about generosity as sustenance. Every region speaks through its spices, and in this journey, those spices sings for vegetarianism more than a meal, a philosophy. India is one of the few civilizations where vegetarianism is deeply rooted not in scarcity but in ideology. The video highlights this repeatedly, both visually and through occasional narration. Understanding Indian vegetarianism. Spiritual roots, Jain, Hindu, and Buddhist philosophies have long emphasized non-violence, which shaped the country's plant-based diet. Diversity, from sattvic food in ashrams to elaborate temple thalis, vegetarian cuisine in India is anything but restrictive. Flavor first. Indian vegetarian meals, with their use of legumes, dairy, fermented grains, and spices, are complete, complex, and deeply satisfying. The light-hearted tone about everything being vegetarian is not mocking. It's a realization that what the narrator expected to be limiting turned out to be liberating and flavorful beyond belief. 5. Emotions cooked into every bite. One of the most powerful undercurrents of the video is the emotional resonance food carries. A dish is not just a preparation, it's an emotion served on a plate. When food feels like memory, a woman hands over a ladle of kheer with no words, only a warm smile. It feels like motherly love. A street-side vendor sprinkles spice with flair, pride gleaming in his eyes. This is art. A banana leaf meal served with folded hands in a village. Hospitality that transcends language. For the narrator and by extension the viewer, these are not meals, they are moments of connection. 6. A story told without words. The deliberate absence of spoken explanations in the video gives space for interpretation. Viewers aren't told what to feel, they're invited to feel for themselves. Interpretive viewing. Sounds, gestures, and visuals tell the story, like a silent film powered by ambience and authenticity. The silence is not emptiness. It is intimacy, allowing us to imagine our own thoughts in the narrator's place. This technique fosters deeper emotional engagement, pulling the audience into the frame as participants, not passive observers. Rather than instruct or inform, the video seeks to immerse, dial quiet joys, the dog and the bone. A subtle yet heartwarming moment in the video shows the narrator sharing a bone with a dog, a quiet gesture of connection, kindness, and humanity. Why this moment matters. It breaks the fourth wall of performance and perfection. Here is a real, unscripted. It applause soundtrack of emotion. Throughout the video, applause is heard, not just for performances, but for emotions shared, meals finished, and memories created. What the applause represents. A celebration of food, yes, but also of connection, discovery, and culture. Applause as a collective emotional reaction. Even when silent, viewers might feel the urge to clap in response. It turns a one-way narrative into a communal experience where the viewer becomes part of the journey. Applause here is the echo of empathy, a sound that says, "We felt that too." 9. The taste that lingers. As the video draws to a close, we sense a shift. The traveler has returned, but the journey continues within. Every flavor tasted, every melody heard has left an imprint. And now a question emerges: can I bring this flavor home? Not just in the form of spices packed in luggage, but as a living memory, something that can be remade, reimagined, perhaps even shared with others who haven't walked those same Indian lanes. The narrator doesn't claim to be an expert. What they bring back is not culinary mastery, it's emotional ownership. And the next step is clear: to recreate, not replicate, the feeling of India on a plate. One, when the journey doesn't end. Most travels end with a return flight. This one didn't. Even after the narrator came back from India, something within them remained entangled in the sounds, smells, and tastes of that extraordinary land. The flavors, the textures, and the emotions tied to meals lingered, not just in memory but in desire. The desire to recreate, not copy, to honor, not mimic, to bring the essence of India into their home, one plate at a time. I didn't just want to eat Indian food again, I wanted to feel India again. 2. The challenge of recreating without recipes. Unlike a typical cooking endeavor, the narrator did not return with a notebook of recipes or kitchen measurements. What they carried instead was more abstract, emotional memory, taste recall, and a deep respect for a culture experienced through its food. Cooking from memory. They remembered the tang of tamarind, the warmth of cumin, the comfort of ghee tree. First attempt, the humble khichdi. Khichdi, a simple blend of rice, lentils, and spice, seemed like a forgiving place to start. But as the narrator would soon discover, even the simplest dish carries deep cultural weight. A modest beginning. Rice, yellow lentils, turmeric, cumin, cooked slowly. No pressure cooker, no banana leaf. Just a pot, a stove, and a memory fork. Dishes attempted, memories reawakened. The narrator didn't stop with khichdi. Slowly, bravely, joyfully, they tried to recreate several of the dishes encountered during their Indian adventure. Masala dosa, the batter took 2 days to ferment. The kitchen smelled alive. A crisp dosa cooked on a skillet, crackling and golden. A humble potato masala tucked inside. Paneer tikka, cubes of paneer marinated in yogurt and spices overnight. Cooking as cultural dialogue. As the narrator cooked more, they started asking deeper questions. Was this truly Indian food or just their memory of it? Was it respectful to tweak recipes? Was it okay to experiment? Respect versus reinvention. They refused to call their dishes authentic. Instead, they called them homagists, sharing food, sharing India. Soon, cooking alone wasn't enough. The narrator began inviting friends, hosting small gatherings, describing the journey's 7. Applause returns, but different. Remember the applause in the original video? The applause heard while flavors exploded, while laughter echoed, while a bone was shared with a dog. 8. What recreating taught beyond cooking. Through cooking Indian meals at home, the narrator discovered much more than spice blends or cooking techniques. Lessons learned. Patience, Indian food can't be rushed. The marination, the simmering, the layering. Humility, you might follow every step and still miss the essence. 9. The dog returns, a symbol of wholeness. One evening, while preparing chole, the narrator noticed a stray dog outside their kitchen window. Thin, alert, hopeful, they stepped out and offered a piece of bread. Conclusion: a new way of seeing, tasting, living. This journey began with tasting something unforgettable in India. It led to an emotional pilgrimage and ultimately a creative act of remembrance. Final note to the reader or viewer: you don't need a passport to taste India. All you need is an open heart, a willingness to learn, and a respect for the story behind the flavor. Start with cumin, simmer some lentils, add ghee. And remember, the real spice is in the story you tell when you serve the dish.